cold wind blows playfully across the water. Picking up speed, it gusts over the barren tundra and races across ice-capped water, whisking moist droplets into the thin air. It whirls and whistles, sending icy crystals of snow in stinging fury against trees, homes, and people. This is the land of the Inupiat Eskimo. Into this Arctic vastness, a baby boy was born more than 150 years ago.
When I was growing up, I hear Dad used to tell us a story about Manilliaq. This man was a prophet. They call him prophet.
That's my dad's uncle. He's a good prophet. That time, nobody was talking about God. They don't know about heaven. Only that man. He always mentioned what he said. It's from above, not from the ground, not from the world. It's from above. That was our God.
Nothing is known of his father. He was raised by his mother. She called him Manilliaq. Others sometimes called him Manilliaq.
Manilliaq, when they look back of that man, God spoke to him, and just like a prophet in those Bible days. You know, there's prophet in the Bible days. Then it happened up there too through that Manilliaq. He's a prophet. Then we can see nowadays, we can see he's one of them, because he prophesied what will happen.
When Manilliaq was born, the natives of the northwest Arctic region of Alaska were ruled by the Inuktitut, or shamans. In the mid-1800s, no missionaries had yet penetrated this hostile land. Yet Manilliaq was a worshiper of the Creator God, whom he called Grandfather. He held communion with this unseen power and foretold changes to take place in the lives of his people. Changes signaled by the coming of men with white skin. Changes that would bring an end to life as they knew it.
My father, he always talking about this Manilliaq. He's a prophet. When they knew about the prophets, when the white man came, they knew that for sure that the prophet. And this Manilliaq was before the white man, and he was talking about the people that came from the south It's white color. And he said they bring books. They bring the books. And people will understand these books. They know about God. They know something, it's a lot of power. More than evil way of power. And people will know something that's real power when they talk from these books. That means now we understand that was the Bible. That's for sure.
And I always had an interest in knowing more of history of Manilliaq. He was something that a person that had started the religion, in a sense, to get the people to overcome fear.
The story of Manilliaq is told by those who heard it from their fathers, who heard it from their fathers, who perhaps even knew him themselves. According to the custom of the Inupiat, each person preserves and passes on to his children the stories he has heard from his own parents, grandparents, or other relatives. Manilliaq was born and lived along the Kobuk River. He traveled extensively during his life, sharing what his grandfather above had told him. He is said to have traveled as far west as the Bering Sea and eastward into Canada, where he was last seen. Manilliaq learned how to build the sod house for the winter, how to snare small animals for food, and how to ice fish. As he grew older, Manilliaq provided food for his mother and 3 sisters, hunting and setting the snares by himself, armed with his trusty bow and arrows. One day, while checking his snares, he noticed an inviting place to sit down and rest. The strange-sounding call of a small bird attracted his attention. He listened closely. Tatagik, Tatagik. The words meant father and child, or father and son. Manilliaq found himself often drawn to this spot where he would linger, surrounded by a feeling of unusual calm and peace, listening for the strange bird call, which expanded to say, Tatagik, Tatagik, Isrum Meksakti, Isrum Meksakti, or father and son, the source of intelligence, the source of thought. Darkness would send him hurrying home, where his mother, fearful lest something should happen to her only son, anxiously watched for him from the top of the bluff. Concerned by his long absences, his mother asked him where he had been and what he had been doing. Letting her in on his secret, he told her, I have been listening to the wonderful sound of a small bird. It calls out to me, father and son, the source of intelligence, the source of thought.
I am now going to tell the story of how Manilliaq lived. When Manilliaq was a boy, he often went out into the country, and soon he even hardly helped his mother with the chores. When he left in the morning, he stayed out all day, sitting on a tree stump all day. I don't know what time of the year it was, but he did this all winter.
One day he told his mother, "Today, as I sat all day at that place over yonder, someone was telling me things. I sat there all day listening to the one who talks to me." This is what he told his mother. He added, "The one who talks to me is from above."
His mother was afraid that he was becoming an Inutkuk, but Manilliaq assured her that he was not, and that the messages were harmless and very pleasant. "I am actually bringing home a ray of light each time I listen to it. I know that something is helping us, and that the small bird calls from somewhere, the source of which I do not know." His mother wondered at his words, wondered about this power that even the Inutkut had not heard of. As he grew older, Manilliaq heard the source of intelligence speaking to his mind even when he was not at his resting place. He was guided in his choice of a wife, and as time passed, 3 children were born to them. Manilliaq took good care of his family. They accepted his special messages and lived a peaceful life. Life for most Inupiat was very hard. They were dominated by the customs, rituals, and superstitions of the shamans.
Before the religion, the white man religion came in, was the fact that the shamans were under control. And when a shaman does something, what he does, he goes over there and he does the healing in some cases, and then in turn, he makes little rules, like he'd go for 3 days, you can't drink water, or you can't do this for a certain day. And there was a lot of little things that it restricted the people from doing. And by doing that, what they did is they began to start having fear, or began to look at those people as people that are powerful. And if you know, it's just like going up against a bully. You know, if you know that person is strong, and then you have that fear within you, you know, not to say anything against that person or end that thing. So in a sense, the way I always look at it is Manilliaq was an individual that tried to get the people out of bondage. In bondage, what I mean is that shamanism, communism, and Satanism is basically almost the same thing, but in a different form, and how they control is by fear.
Some of the taboos made life very hard for Eskimo women. Young girls, upon entering puberty, were isolated from society for a time, and during childbirth, women were required to leave their homes.
When it's close to deliver, he make a little hut back there behind where they're living. I make a little hut. In winter time, they make a snow, a little hut just like this kind of. And when he get to deliver the baby, and he went there and go in there with nobody. He delivered a baby right there behind the village, back there, someplace back there. That's the way they're living. And a girl, when he getting a little bit age, you know, they always keep him someplace back there too. When they start get to a woman, They make a little house and keep back there. I don't know how long, less than a month, I think, a week or something like that.
People don't know the young girls when they have their periods, because those girls used to stay outside of the village too for 1 year. So that's how they will change.
Manilliaq felt compassion for women and spoke out against these cruel practices. He defended the worth of women in a society where boys were considered of greater value, and predicted that these traditions would someday be banished.
You don't have to be afraid of these shamans. And say these young ladies that had their period for the very first time had to live by themselves for 1 whole year. So he would go out there and he'd visit them.
Other superstitions that dominated their lives had to do with fishing, hunting, and the treatment of animal skins.
They cannot sew in summertime. They can't work on skins in summertime. When the leaves start growing, they can't do these skins.
When he was across in Sisolic, there are certain kind of fish you couldn't eat during the summertime. And he mixed the two together. There was berries and some kind of fish, or there was something that you couldn't eat during the summertime. Or there was beluga and some other kind of fruit or berries. I forget what it was. But he went over there and he ate those. And sit there and tell him, see, nothing is going to happen to me.
Manilliaq looked for opportunities to show that these customs had no power over him. As he fearlessly broke the taboos, the people began to see that his source of power was stronger than the power of the Inutkut. He explained that his power came from above, while the Inutkut received their power from the earth. There is nothing to fear. I have demonstrated the freedom that is to come. He assured the people that his source of intelligence was watching over them, keeping them safe from danger, and that it would do away with the suffering and fear caused by the earthly power. He admonished them against killing, stealing, and all wrongdoing against one another. They were amazed that he did not fear the Inutkut or their power. They could not imagine that someday death from the taboos would cease and the Inutkut would no longer practice their trade. Fearful that Manilliaq was destroying their power over the people, the Inutkut determined to kill him. They were able to kill people through their helping spirits. In a trance, they would find the person and perform their magic over him. Many people died in their sleep or from diseases as a result. But the Inutkut had no power to destroy Manilliaq. He was protected by a bright glow which some of them described as a thin beam of light coming down from the sky and encircling Manilliaq and his family. The people were surprised that Manilliaq and his family didn't notice their protection of light and seemed unconcerned and unafraid of the Inutkut's power.
One time, after white man came, maybe, around the white man came, he said, they knew about the alcoholic, you know, the barrels, alcoholic, and some people, they knew drinking. And 3 witches, real power of a devil, just come and walk around, so the people were scary and hardly to see these people.